On tonight's Gwinnett Prep Rally, the soccer state tournament is underway and many matchups feature Gwinnett teams going head-to-head. In boys action, North Gwinnett takes on Parkview, and Wesleyan has their hands full with the defending Class A state champs in Walker. Brookwood and Peachtree Ridge girls would need more than 80 minutes to determine who would move on in the tournament, and the Wesleyan Lady Wolves have a tough matchup with Galloway. We also recap the first round of the state baseball playoffs. We're covering all things Gwinnett County, and it starts right now.
For more than 15 years, your source for Gwinnett County sports is Gwinnett Prep Rally.
Hello again and welcome to your county's original high school sports television program. This is Gwinnett Prep Rally now in its 19th season, and we can be seen right here on GCPS TV for the entire 2011-2012 school year. I'm Todd Klein alongside Will Hammock from the Gwinnett Daily Post. And Will, the girls track and field state championships took place this past weekend, and while we had one state champion as a team, we had several individuals take home state titles.
Yeah, that team championship was very impressive. The Greater Atlanta Christian girls won the state championship. Brittany Arnold had an excellent meet, just a very deep, especially in the sprints for the GAC team, very deep in that department. Then Sonequa Walters from Peachtree Ridge won. Alex Johnson from Mountain View winning a state championship in the high jump. That was Mountain View's first ever state championship in any sport, so congratulations to her.
Yeah, great effort by those girls. Congratulations to all the state placers. Time now to turn our attention to the first round of the state soccer playoffs, and we begin on the boys' side with the Parkview Panthers playing host to North Gwinnett. Kirk Rogers has all the action from the Big Orange Jungle.
The North Gwinnett Bulldogs head to the Big Orange Jungle to take on Parkview. Early on, Parkview had a bunch of open looks, but Maximilian Smith would come up with a stop. Then just 4 minutes in, Jose Diaz gets by his defender, beats the keeper, and puts a shot in the back of the goal for an early 1-0 lead. Just moments later, Diaz finds a wide-open Jonathan Jarrett, who pushes it inside to a Bill Wynn, and just like that, the Panthers are up 2-0 just 9 minutes into the game. Then in the 28th minute, Raymond Murrow finds himself one-on-one with the keeper, and as Smith dives in, Murrow lobs it over his head, and Parkview has a commanding 3-0 lead. Parkview would try to add on more to this lead as the half was winding down. Jarrett and Wynn try to connect again, but Smith knocks this one down, and we go into halftime. In the second half, North would try to mount a comeback, first off this header by James Lee, but this one's pulled in by Diego Casillas. Then the Bulldogs finally get on the board, and this Alejandro Eroye free kick, and the Bulldogs now just trail by 2. Casillas comes up big again as he prevents this Kobe Daigle attempt from going in, but just moments later, the ball gets battered around inside the box. Michael D'Angelo ends up with it, and no one is in front of him, and suddenly it is a one-score game. North Gwinnett would have one more chance to tie it up. Kean Porek has a free kick, and he sends it into the box with Diego Casillas with a big-time stop, and Parkview holds on for the 3-2 victory.
Well, Parkview holds off the Bulldogs, get the nice first-round win. Is Parkview headed back to maybe another run towards the semifinals or even further?
Yeah, I think Parkview can make a great run here. We saw them play a very good Brookwood team there close late in the season. I think that showed a lot, and obviously they got off to a great start in this one, building up that 3-0 lead, and then really had to hold on. But I like their bracket. I think they're going to beat Tift in the next round, and probably make it a couple more rounds past that.
And North Gwinnett bows out, but obviously they put up a fight. You saw how they made a good comeback there. Kind of signified a season that was very strong for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think it's a very positive season. I think there's some good things going on for our coach Mike Winsler. He's in his second season as head coach over there. He's a guy that used to be a goalkeeper at Duluth, but he's done a good job up there, made the playoffs both of his seasons, kind of broke a playoff drought, and I think he's got that program moving in the right direction.
Well, back to the highlights, and the Wesleyan Wolves earned a first-round home game after a very good regular season, but the reward was a matchup against an always dangerous Walker squad. GPR's Wade Smith has more.
The defending state champs travel to Norcross as Walker faces Wesleyan. Walker would strike first in the 7th minute off of an Eric Pereira header that gets past Carter Flackbarth. Credit Jack Johnson with the assist, and Walker is up 1-0. Just 2 minutes later, Jacob Smith is pushing it deep inside Wolves territory and dishes it over to Evan Kazian, who drops it in over Flackbarth, and Walker is jumped out on top 2-0. Eric Sunderman would try and put the Wolves on the board here, but Colin Mitchell is there for the stop, and this ball is going the other way. And on the other end, Walker has a corner kick that goes inside the box. Matthew McKean gets a head on it, but Flackbarth is there to pull it down. Then in the 18th minute of play, Sunderman has a throw-in that goes into heavy traffic, but Court Coxhead comes in with a header that gets past a diving Mitchell, and Wesleyan has cut this Walker lead down to 1. End of the first half is nearing, and Sunderman has a free kick. but it goes right to Mitchell, and Wesleyan would trail at halftime 2-1. Sunderman tries to tie it up once again, but the Walker defense prevents him from even getting a shot off, and from there, Walker would take control of this game. In the 47th minute, Jacob Smith would give Walker a commanding 3-1 lead when he puts a free kick where a diving Flackbarth can't get to it. But he wasn't done there. This Smith attempt is on target, and Flackbarth barely gets a foot on it and sends this one out of play. On the ensuing corner kick, Pereira sends a pass in to Mitch Vandenine, and he would head this one in to put the defending state champs on the board for the 4th time, and that score is how the game would end. Walker over Wesleyan, 4-1.
Well, tough matchup for Wesleyan there in the first round. Well, obviously Wesleyan had a nice regular season, but what do the Wolves have to do if they want to step up and really go against these elite programs like Walker?
I think they've kind of cycled up to being a more competitive team. I think in this game they really just kind of got psyched out. I think they don't need to be intimidated by these big-time teams. They had the talent to play with Walker, I know, but you can't give an early lead like they did in this one, kind of get freaked out from the start. You get behind 2-0 to a team like that, you're really going to be in trouble, and they were really just chasing that whole match.
Time now to recap other boys' action from the first round of the state soccer playoffs. It's brought to you by Tommy Lee Carpets, and we begin with the Brookwood Broncos.
It was an exciting first round game, very tough first round game. I think a lot of people thought this would be a close one, and it was. Peachtree Ridge had a couple offsides calls they didn't like that would have resulted in tying goals. But Brookwood got it done. Brookwood keeps rolling, keeps playing on. Kelson Brunel and Malik Jalal scored goals for the Broncos in this one. And like I said all season, I think Brookwood's got the talent to play with anybody in the state. It's just a matter if they can put it together here in the playoffs.
And we move over to Mill Creek. They had a nice first round win over Central Gwinnett.
Yeah, this is kind of an underrated team. They hadn't proven anything really in the state level yet, but they have the talent to do that this season. Nick Montaigne had a couple of goals and an assist there in the win over Central Gwinnett in the past round. And to Jay Hopkins, he had a goal and an assist. So really just a lot of offensive firepower for the Hawks, and I think that's going to carry them into the playoffs.
And you're talking about some offensive firepower. Well, Collins Hill had plenty of it.
Yeah, they did what we expected them to do in the first round. They got off to a little bit of a slow start, but Amiri Abraham really had a good game. There's a team, like we said, with a lot of guys that can score goals, and once they got rolling, they put them away right there in the first round over Grayson. It's a tough Grayson defensive team, but once the Collinsville offense got rolling, made it tough for the Rams to keep up.
Well, you talked about Brookwood in the great season they've had. Obviously, Collins Hill coming on strong at the right time. Do you feel like the Eagles are peaking to make this great run maybe for another title?
I think so. I think they are peaking, and another thing in their favor is they have that intimidation factor. I mean, they played in 4 straight state championship games, so they not only have that experience, they know that the other teams coming in are going to expect a battle from Collins Hill, and it's going to be a team that's motivated too. Coach Drew Prentice is leaving the program after the year, so I know they want to win a championship in his last season there.
And then we go back to your alma mater, Brookwood. They have this next round matchup against Noonan. Is Noonan a team that can cause Brookwood problems, or is that still ahead?
I think Brookwood can take care of this one. I don't see them losing that game, but certainly you have to stay focused. It's the state playoffs, and they play some decent soccer down that side of the world, so we definitely have to stay focused here if Gwinnett wants to keep moving in this round.
Well, let's turn our attention to the girls in a quarterfinal caliber matchup taking place in the first round as the Brookwood Lady Broncos were on the road to face Region 7 champion Peachtree Ridge. Kirk Rogers has the call.
Brookwood travels to Peachtree Ridge as the Lions are a heavy favorite in the tournament. Early on, Kimberly Fincher is on the attack, but her shot goes wide and we remain tied. Later, Michelle Allen sends a free kick inside the box, but the Region 7 goalkeeper of the year, Coach Sedmore Shea, is able to pull it in, and it is 0-0 at the half. Shelby James puts a shot on goal, but Taylor Strickland is there to collect, and she would be tested once again when Katie Lippett tries to head in this throw-in attempt. Jordan Missile would get the last shot of regulation, and it gets by Strickland, but it's wide right, and we go to overtime. After the first round of the shootout, it is tied up 1-1, and Shelby Jennings lines up and drills it where Strickland can't get to it. For Brookwood, Santa Williams does the same, and it's now 2-2. Strickland gets a hand on Graham Green's attempt, and Francesca Ellis knocks it in to give the Broncos the 3-2 advantage. Strickland gets another stop, this time against Jordan Missile, but Allen goes wide left, and it's still 3-2. In the fifth round, Macy Greens beats Strickland, so it all comes down to Brielle Power. Power lines up, goes left, and gets it past the outstretched Morshea for the win.
And what a win it was, Will, for the Brookwood Broncos. They go on the road, get the big upset. We talked all year how strong Region 7 was, but there's a number 4 seed from Region 8 getting it done.
Yeah, it's a great win for Brookwood, great win for Coach Sarah Crawford. That was her first playoff win. She's had a playoff team since she's been here the last couple of years, but finally won that first playoff game, get that monkey off her back a little bit. But knew this game was going to be a defensive battle. Both these teams struggle to score goals, and Peachtree Ridge has been so sound all year with Cosette Morche. She's great in penalty kicks, but you saw Taylor Strickland from Brookwood also proving that she can be great in penalty kicks.
And Will, tough loss for Peachtree Ridge. Also, Coach Bill Holman's last game as head coach.
Yeah, well, Sarah Crawford was getting her first playoff win. Bill was getting his last win there as Peachtree Ridge's girls soccer coach. He's done a lot for Georgia soccer all over the place, not just at Peachtree Ridge. He won a state championship at Shiloh a while back, and what he's done as athletic director over at Peachtree Ridge has been great too. He's kind of laid the foundation for that school, and they've already in their short history had a lot of athletic success, and a lot of that falls to Bill with what he's done over there.
Well, the Wesleyan Lady Wolves compete in the toughest region in Class A soccer, so they had to open their playoff run with a play-in game against top 10 ranked Galloway. Wade Smith has more.
First round action has Galloway facing off against Wesleyan. Early on, Galloway has a free kick, but Grace Hodges goes up for the stop. And on the other end, Darby Coxhead sends a pass inside to Maddie Hall. The ball gets by the keeper, but before Hall can do anything, the ball is cleared by Leela Weichel. Hope Morgan steps up for a free kick, and again this goes inside to Maddie Hall, but Aubrey Stone comes up with the save, and we remain scoreless going into halftime. In the second half, Diana Torres sends a shot on goal, but Aubrey Stone makes the save of the game and keeps this game tied up. Galloway now has a free kick, and Andy Lestaco puts it deep in Wolves territory. Amelia Cole comes up for the ball, beats Hodges and drills it into the back of the net, and gives the Scots the first lead of the game. Hope Morgan is now looking to tie this one up, fights through some Galloway defenders, but Stone comes up with yet another save. Morgan with the ball again, sends a cross through the box. It comes back to Jenny Van Lake, and she puts it in to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Just moments later, Galloway has a free kick, and this shot goes inside the box, and Leela Weichel gets a head on it, puts it just past an outstretched Hodges, and the Scots are back up 2-1. Under a minute left to play, and Wesleyan has a corner kick. This travels inside the box and is headed down by Abby Dawes, but in the fight for the ball, Galloway is able to clear it and hold on for the victory by a score of 2-1.
Well, it was a tough test there for Wesleyan, Will, and they gave it a good go against a very good Galloway team.
Yeah, it was a tough loss, and really it came down to you fight so hard to get that equalizing goal, which they did there in the 70th minute, and then it was a struggle to give a goal right after that and lose the lead a minute later after you get that tying goal. Really kind of demoralizing. It's tough to fight back from something like that.
Time now to recap other girls soccer action from the first round of the state playoffs. It's brought to you by Breda Pest Management, and we begin with the North Gwinnett Lady Bulldogs.
Yeah, North Gwinnett's a team that's got some offensive power, but we knew Grayson was going to be stout on defense. That's kind of their calling card, and they were in this one. Brookwood, the only goal came from Brooke Bortles there off a corner kick. She placed a nice corner kick, and it was an own goal, unfortunately for Grayson. So really had a tough time scoring against that Grayson defense, and it came down to that own goal. Very tough way to lose a playoff game.
And then we move over to Collins Hill. They had a nice win over Tequila.
They talked about them maybe being overlooked. It's a team with a lot of talent. They can maybe make a deep run in the playoffs. Did really well in the first round. That was a good Tequila team. That was a tough matchup. The Tequila team did very well in Region 8, which is so tough. Really got goals from Mariah Dickey, Taylor Donahue, and Desiree Bowen to win there in the first round, and of course notching the shutout as well.
And then finally, Mill Creek getting a win over the perennial power Parkview.
Yeah, that was a great matchup too. It was much like the Peachtree Ridge Brookwood. It was a very tough game that could have gone either way. Both teams battled it. Parkview had a goal that just barely missed, and Mill Creek was able to score off there on a Megan Hatfield header that really made the difference to get Mill Creek a huge victory. And they had a great playoff run last year. They're looking to do it again.
And Will, we talked about how tough Region 7 was. Obviously, Peachtree Ridge got knocked off, but these other 3 Region 7 teams won. Out of those, who did you think was the most impressive?
I mean, I think all of them are pretty good, but I really think I like what Collins Hill did against a very good Tequila team there in the first round. Collins Hill, I talked about them having a lot of talent, and obviously they have a lot to play for. They got eliminated in the quarterfinals last year by a state championship team, so they're looking to go a little further than that, and I think they have the talent to pull it off.
And then we talk about all sports in Gwinnett County being a little bit on a cycle. Parkview, it used to be unthinkable that they would lose in the first round 2 years in a row, but it's happened.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, it's just a matter of tough matchups. I think last year was kind of maybe more expected that they lost in the first round. They had a little bit of a tough year, but they had the talent this year to make a nice playoff run, and it just really came down to playing a very tough Region 7 team in Mill Creek. It's kind of been ranked all season long, so Mill Creek's got a lot of talent. It's not a tough game to win there in the first round, so really a tough loss for Parkview though.
Time now for Will's World. We put 60 seconds on the clock. We get in the mind of our very own Will Hammock, and it's brought to you by Nexstar Communications.
I had the Gwinnett Sports Hall of Fame inductions this past weekend to benefit the Gwinnett Schools Foundation. Some really talented people going in. One of them was Jan Azar, the successful basketball coach over at Wesleyan. She went in, and a guy right here, David Green, an excellent quarterback at South Gwinnett and at the University of Georgia, played some in the NFL. David went into the Hall of Fame as well, so it's nice to see that crop honored. Definitely some deserving candidates in that field. Really got some big news. Diamond DeShields, Kayla Davis got called up to U.S. national team trials for the under-17 team that's going to play in the World Championships. And Kaylin Caldwell from Wesleyan and Lexi Brown from North Gwinnett, they got called up to the under-18 trials. They're going to be playing in a smaller tournament, the FIBA Americas tournament. And all those girls are excellent basketball players, going to represent Gwinnett and Georgia on the national level. And Central Gwinnett's Jonathan Massaquoi, a guy that we saw who was a linebacker, probably 210 pounds when he played at Central. He's up to about 265 now, plays defensive end. The Falcons took him in the NFL draft this year, so it's going to be nice to have another local in the Atlanta Falcons, and he's become an excellent pass rusher. He played his college football at Troy. I think he's going to help the Atlanta Falcons pass rush, definitely make the team this year.
It'll be fun watching him play for the Falcons. I want to go back to that Hall of Fame. I know, Will, you were on the committee that helped select those nominees for this year. Talk about that experience and how you've enjoyed being part of it.
It's been a great thing for me. I mean, it's just to see all those nominees and to get to meet a lot of those guys from the old times that maybe I didn't know, but also just to be a part of that process and seeing these people and their families. What a great honor it is for these people to come back and be inducted into this. I think they don't realize how big of a deal it is until they get back and see the induction ceremony at the Gwinnett Braves game. It's a pretty neat honor. I think everybody that's gone in the past 3 years has definitely enjoyed it.
Time now to update on baseball. Then the playoffs got underway this past week, so let's recap some of the action from that first round. It's brought to you by Britt's Home Furnishing, and we begin with the Grayson Rams beating Peachtree Ridge.
I had a feeling this was going to be a pretty competitive series, and it was. It went 3 games. Grayson won 9-4 in the first game and 9-2 in the third game. Peachtree Ridge won that middle game 4-3. It was a very close game. And Taylor Allen was proved a 7-0 for Grayson. He got the win there in game 3, so that was pretty clutch.
And then we move on to Mill Creek, got a nice first round win.
Yeah, Mill Creek's just been a team that's been used to playoff success these last couple of years, and they got a really tough battle from Shiloh. It was Shiloh's first playoff appearance since 1999. Shiloh won a pitcher's duel 1-0 in game 2, and really in game 3, Shiloh kept fighting, got down 6-0 and fought back, and Mill Creek eventually won game 3 8-6.
And then finally Brookwood, another Gwinnett versus Gwinnett first rounder, and this one goes to the Broncos.
Yeah, it was another tight battle in the first round. Brookwood won game 1 8-7 on a walk-off, and North Gwinnett fought back to win a tight one in game 2, but when it came to game 3, I think Brookwood's pitching depth really helped. Ryan Woodard had a great game in that one. And Brookwood won that one, so really good showing for the Broncos. I think they can make a run here in the postseason.
And we talk about how tough the competition here is in the region. Region 8 was very tough. Grayson got through there. What does that do for that Grayson program as they try to proceed through the state playoffs?
That's definitely a confidence boost. I mean, you talk about Region 7, how great they are in baseball. So anytime you can eliminate a Region 7 team in the playoffs, it's going to give you a lot of confidence. I think that's what it does for Grayson. But this is a Grayson team that Chan Brown, the Parkview coach, he was worried about Grayson being such a solid team going into the season, maybe challenging Parkview for the region title. I think they have that kind of talent. They're deep on pitching. They have a lot of dangerous hitters in the lineup that can really give them a spark, especially there at the top of the order.
And then you talked about Region 7. Mill Creek got that win in the first round. What does their experience do for them as they move forward?
I think it does a lot. I think as a program, they're expected to be at that level. I think obviously there's a lot of new faces in the lineup this year. They lost to graduation, but the Hawks and Coach Doug Jones has been in the playoffs a million times, so he knows what to expect. He's going to have them ready in the postseason, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Hawks win a couple more rounds.
All right, we're out of time, but you can visit us online at GwinnettPrepRally.com for the world-famous message board and video highlights. You can also keep up with GPR on Twitter and our Facebook fan page. Be sure to join us next week for more highlights and features on Gwinnett Prep Rally every Tuesday through Friday right here on GCPS TV. For Will Hammock and all of us here at GPR, I'm Todd Klein. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you under the lights.
Grab some wood there, bub.